Yo, what's up? Street talk, street god, street vlogs. Or Kim in the house. Alright. Beautiful morning, you the woman, morning, babe. And the water. Okay, so I asked the ChatGPTs, how does cocaine work? Okay, neurotransmitter, dopamine, how does it work though? Okay, so some thoughts. Alright, it's beginning to look a lot like the New Year's. Okay, so some fun thoughts for us. First and foremost, I think everyone should get a GoPro Minis, the new hero, blah blah. Let's just get the newest one possible. I mean, one notion that I really like is this notion of quote evergreen. So like the problem about putting in dates, model numbers, blah blahs, is that like you watch the video or the thing 10 years from now and you're talking about old technology and it's not going to be applicable to today's world. So slaves, new slaves, natural slaves. Okay, so I'm like currently reading Politics by Aristotle. So just Google Politics Aristotle PDF, and like it's so good. Like, okay, I hate all these like modern day woke ass, like politically correct, you know, peoples who's like talking about ain't nobody have no opinion no more, and nobody talk direct and straight up to the point, straight up. And everyone gotta be like, oh, it depends, it's subject. I'm like, just give me a straight answer, straight up. Aristotle's so funny. It's like some people are born natural slaves, and then some people subject that as not natural. He wrote, they are wrong. Period. It's kind of, yeah, Aristotle's good. It's funny because like if you read the Politics, which is where the notion of oikonomia came, which means like economics, home economics, which means what is it? Management of the household. And it's super interesting. I think everyone should read the Politics at least once because you know, politics, the polis, the city, everyone lives part of a society. Like people think about politics like global, like American, like that's not real politics. Politics more about like the household, the village, the city, and that's it. So it's like, so for example, I'm currently living here in Culver City, right? Culver City, Los Angeles. And technically Culver City is interesting because, ooh, yeah, good job, Apple's vitrines team. Y'all updating the things. Ooh, this is a nice one, yeah. Just shoot me an email, eric@erickim.com. Got some good ideas for y'all. Yeah, I want to live here forever. Start my own Apple. So I think also the reason why I like the GoPro Minis for the vlogging. Oh yeah, all these nice pictures for the new year. Yeah, actually, my pro tip: Apple's photos teams, whatevs. I never want to see the same picture twice. We disdain the same. I mean, think about it this way: you had just same old run-ons for the rest of eternities. Ain't nobody gonna like that. Ooh yeah. Also, the good thing with vlogging on the GoPro Minis, whatevs, is you don't have to worry about things like focusing. 8777 Washington. My low-key suspicion is I think that Apple TV, they're just trying to buy out the movie industry. They got the monies, but it looks like they're not the Archimedes lever of Apple is media, TV, entertainment. I think they're just kind of grasping at straws, one last ditch attempt. Apple, we should I was gonna talk if I was Kim could be the next Joni Ive or the head of the Apple phone. Maybe I should be the head of the Apple phone scene. I got good ideas, but yeah, Apple just needs to I'm just gonna talk. It's like let's just double down. We need to double down on the iPhone, make the iPhone cool again. Even I'm like talking to these like, you know, yoga millennial chick girl, I'm like, oh, you can get a new iPhone. They're like, my iPhone is fine. I was like, I'll wait till like the 16, 17, 18. And so yeah, talking to people on the ground seems wise. So yeah, anyway, so I think with your opinion, like, okay, I don't know nobodies who are actually interesting. Like, the only friend that I find interesting is probably like my friend Todd Hata. Just you know, just Google him, Toddhata, Todd Hatakiyama's. Essentially, I'm 35. He shot me an email when I was like 21, 22, helped me out a lot. And then also a fun thing about friends and friendship is somebody's a real friend, you never call them your friend. It's like, you know, I look at Todd as like, I'm not like, that's my friend Todd. I'm just like, that's Todd. That's just who they is, right? So the simple heuristic is be very, 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 very careful when people's like, oh, I'm so glad that you're my friend, or I'm so glad to have a friend like you. It's somebody talking like that, they ain't a real friend, right? Like even with family, real family, they don't call it family, just who they is, right? But anyway, so talking about the politics. So certain things that I've gleaned, which is interesting. Yeah, go this way. Make sure that nobody trips on it. So certain things I find interesting is, oh yeah, Margot on the second floor, super lady. Yeah, this let's see what it is. Okay, so I this is what I figured out, right? I have like this kind of like, you know, master mentality, and the basic idea is, good morning. So basically the idea is like, you know, okay, sounds bad. Am I allowed to talk bad? Okay, I'm just gonna talk straight up, right? So you know, long story short, I'm the eldest son of the eldest son of the eldest son of the eldest son. So I was born definitely and raised with Wangjapyeong. Wangjap means prince, Byung means disease, or Kim's got the prince disease, the emperor's disease, what is, right? And so like in my mind, you know, I was infallible, given the best cuts of meat. Every time I go to Korea, my grandma would brag about how smart, tall, and good looking and intelligent I was. So shout out to my grandma, very grateful. Even the thing I'm so grateful about Seneca is both his grandmas, my mom and Cindy's mom, treat him like the goat, speak insanely highly of himself. And so as a consequence, yeah, I think that's it's a good thing. Yes, so actually my fury is, you know, I think of myself like the goat, the master. And so whenever I see other people who I consider my inferiors, my doulos, D-O-U-L-O-S is the ancient Greek word for slave, slave. Actually, the word slave is interesting because it actually comes from like the word Slavic, like, you know, Eastern European slaves, right? So, but back in the day, a slave was an Eastern European person from Slavia, Slavic languages, right? And then nowadays in modern day American English, we always think about like African American slaves. Slavery far predates African slaves. I mean, like, I don't know too much about the history of the African slave trade, but then before that, I mean, think about the Helots, the Helots of the ancient Greeks, and basically the notion and the idea was, you know, the ancient Spartans. There's like 6,000 of them. Even sounds so bad, right? So go on to Wiktionary.org and then search Adolf Hitler. Search his quotes. He even mentioned the ancient Spartans, like 6,000 Spartans subjugating 300,000 Helots or something ridiculous like that. And so the general idea and the gist was, you know, back in ancient Greece, like they thought of a slave like property, not a free man. Like even Aristotle called a slave, doulos, as like an animate person body that focused on action but not production, which is kind of interesting nuance. So what it means is that the real man, the free man, the true master is focused on production, and then the slave is focused on action. So just like somebody clean up your house, whatever. So anyways, I'm like still reading it, but so some general notions is you know, the household, man and wife, children, and then slaves, right? And so even the more naturalistic things, you know, people not all like PC and whatever's, is if you go to Asia, Southeast Asia, right? Like typically even a middle-class household, you have at least 1 or 2 full-time, you know, housemaids / servants. And then America and Singapore, they just called helpers. I'm like, come on, call a spade a spade. This is, they're your servants, right? And then the word servant, service, server is all centered around the word slave, service, right? I'm starting to think more and more of like a lot of modern day Christianity, Protestantism, Catholicism about being a servant is actually not good thinking, because you want to be a slave, you want to be a master. Like to quote Ye, and leaders and the followers, but I'd rather be a dick than a swallower, right? So don't be a swallower. You know, it's okay. Some more bad thoughts, right? Like if for $1 million, $1 billion, $1 trillion, $100 trillion, you know, somebody gotta, you know, bust a nut inside your mouth and then you gotta swallow it. Would you do it for $100 trillion? If you say yes, then that's not good. My thought is I would never even do it for all the money in the world times $1 trillion. I wouldn't do it for $100 quadrillion, because yeah, there are some things about the sacred versus the profane which is critical to consider.